Now it's time for News Extra, and today brought to you by First State Bank in Scottsbluff and Gering. And here again is Kevin Mooney.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. We're going to talk about the 2018 Dry Bean Day coming up on February 13th over at the Gering Civic Center. And I made Paul over here a doctor earlier. He's the bean doctor. Paul Pieper is here, along with Debi Fitz, and we're going to talk about Dry Bean Day coming up here in a couple of weeks, the day before Valentine's Day, guys. February 13th, 12:30 to 6 over at the Gering Civic Center. So welcome, Debi. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank
you. Good. Paul's over here, and you're going to get how much you're going to get a lot of heat for being a doctor here from your buddies, right?
There you go.
There you are. Okay. All right, Debi, talk about what you got for an agenda coming up on the 13th.
We've got a great agenda this year. Well, I think probably every year, but this year we're lucky to have Steve Wellman, the new director of Department of Agriculture for Nebraska. We're going to welcome him out here to Western Nebraska. He'll be our keynote speaker. We have Brooke Brockman and Sarah Smith with Farm to School program to tell us a little bit more about how they're getting more beans to the tables at school. We're going to have Direct Harvest panel with John Thomas talk about direct harvest for dry beans, the university research programs. We've got a nice breakout of speakers to tell us about what their research projects have been this last year.
All right, then you have from 5 to 6, you have a little cash bar afterwards and a social hour where guys can talk, and you have hors d'oeuvres there and some things like that, right?
We sure do. In fact, we've got a great raffle. We're going to I'm letting the secret out, but we're going to raffle off some Instant Pots. Not a better way to cook beans than with your Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Pre-soak your beans, and you got beans in 24 minutes, ready to go to the table. So.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So you guys, pretty good coup getting the ag director to come out, right?
We sure did. He sent a letter asking for support for his new position. And of course, we did that. And I said, by the way, how would you like to come out to Western Nebraska? And he said yes. So
yeah,
I was pretty excited about
Well,
that.
he needs to come out here, and because the crops are different out here than they are back there.
Yeah,
right.
He's a farmer. He raises soybeans. So, yeah, we'll show him around out here and show him what we do with our beans.
All right, very good. Let's move it over here. Let's move that microphone over here to Paul real quick. So, Paul, how is the dry bean? It's kind of tough right now to be a dry bean grower, a little bit, isn't it?
It is. The market is kind of flat, but I have heard from some of the processors they are starting to move some beans, and they're not running 24/7, but they're running a full schedule and getting some of the beans cleaned up from last year and getting them moved out to where they need to be and onto the tables.
All right, that's good. Finding a market for them, right?
Finding a market for them. So.
All right. Right now the price is about basically covers your cost of operation if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, and it's right at $21 for both Great Northerns and Pintos here in the valley, and there have been some earlier contracts out there that have been between 23 to 24. So hopefully there's an upward trend, and we see $40 beans come fall.
Yeah, that'd be nice, huh? Well, if you had $40 beans, you wouldn't know what to do with all the money, would you?
No one out there right now could stand the prosperity.
That's for sure. I was going to ask you about this direct harvest panel here because I was talking to Chabella with this yesterday because we are one of the few areas, first of all, we're the number one grower of Great Northerns out here in the U.S., here in the Panhandle and so forth. And isn't the Panhandle kind of the last bastion of cutting the beans first and then harvesting?
We are, and it's simply due to gravity irrigation and the evolution of sprinklers. It's helped, so that's why more people are looking at it.
Yeah.
If you still set a tube or have gated pipe or catgut, it's pretty hard to direct harvest.
Yeah, pretty hard to do that, right? But explain what direct harvest would do compared to what they normally do. Direct harvest, you just cut them and harvest them all at the same time, right?
That's correct. You allow the beans to dry down, and you go out there and cut them directly. You don't undercut them or knife them and put them in a windrow and let the elements, or the chance for the wind to blow. So
yeah, that never happens, does it?
Not here in western Nebraska, no. Not too often. So.
Yeah. So anyway, but the crop this year, even though the harvest conditions sometimes were a little difficult because you had moisture and wind, like you said, at difficult times after you cut them this year, but you still managed to. Everybody had a pretty good crop, really.
They did. The quality came out better than expected, and the yields turned out. So it all worked out. It's just that the price fell out of bed.
Yeah. So we'll get you back to $40, and you guys can be happy and go to the bank with a smile, maybe. Okay.
There you go.
All right. We're going to talk about some of the research programs they're going to discuss on Dry Bean Day right after this.
Life happens fast. Take control of it with Moby Money from First State Bank. If your debit card is lost or stolen, you have the power to instantly turn your card off from your mobile phone. You set location and merchant preferences, and you set spending limits. You can manage your money any place, anytime with low balance alerts, account transfers, and receipt tracking. Just another reason when we say we are big on you. We mean it. First State Bank, member FDIC.
All right, we're back on News Extra. We're talking about the 2018 Bean Day agenda. Coming up February 13th over at the Gering Civic Center. It runs from 12:30 to 6 o'clock that day. And we have Paul Pieper here. He's the Nebraska Dry Bean president, along with Debi Fitz, who put this all together. We were talking about how many guys you have in the Bean Growers Association. You have, guys grow beans clear up to Valentine and then back down into Colorado, right? It's a big deal, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's and they grow beans wherever the climate allows them to.
Yeah.
So, and we got about 2,500 individuals that we send out the bean bag to every month, or quarterly, I should say, not every month, but
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys. Some of them are retired and want to just keep up on what's going on, but nevertheless, that's a big number. And tell us about some of these Bean Day presenters here, and I'll maybe help you out with some of these names as you go through it. All right.
Well, I appreciate that. We have Carlos back for the potential of dry bean varieties that he's looking at releasing. We have Jeff Bradshaw for improving farm profitability, and Jessica Grosskopf for how to manage the 2018 crop year, and then I'll turn it back over to Deb for the rest of them.
All right, Deb, go ahead.
Thank you. We have Zen with irrigation scheduling for dry beans with soil moisture and canopy temperature sensors. Nevin with control of Palmer amaranth in dry beans. Bahish with soil and water conservation in dry bean production. And Bob Harvison, have you ever wondered how we diagnose diseases? So some really good research projects they've had through the year, and we get to hear about what they've discovered and come up with. So interesting stuff.
You did a good job of that. You just pronounced first names, and you're good to go, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, all right. Debi Fitz doing a good job here, along with Paul Pieper on our show. Any cost to go to Bean Day?
No cost to come in and visit all the vendor booths and register there for raffle items. We have a raffle, and when we do the drawing, you do need to be present to win. So we encourage you to visit with the vendors, and from 5 to 6 we'll have our cash bar and hors d'oeuvres and more time to visit vendors, and we'll be good to go.
All right. No cost, and people have to register ahead of time. They can just show up, right?
Just come to the door, 12:30, register there, and begin walking around, visiting with vendors, and
It should be a good time. All right, appreciate it. Don't forget, 2018 Bean Day, February 13th, Gering Civic Center, 12:30 to 6 o'clock. I know it'll be a big turnout. We appreciate Debbie Fitz and Paul Pieper coming in today and telling us all about beans. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.